Why? You're attacking me. I didn't do nothing to you. No, and I didn't do nothing to you either. I'm trying to record a video here. Excuse me. Blocked. Alright, let's get on with it. What's up, everybody? Monkey Puzzle here, and I have been having a blast, to my initial surprise, in Valheim. You know, I was initially put off by the graphics, but once I got into it, I realized actually what a nice design choice they are, and how they've taken this sort of retro pixelization and mixed it with this current gen post-processing effects of lighting and motion and shadows and weather effects and everything. And it's really beautiful, but moreover, this game has a really robust and complete set of mechanics that really make this survival game, and I'd like to see developed in more survival games. And one of them is the building system. This here is a little starter hut I made that I'm going to use as a staging area in order to gather materials and gear myself up for much grander builds, one of which is going to be down here. And there's going to be other ones too. I'll probably build something up here. I'll probably build a port down there. And I'm really going to be playing around with this building system in addition to just having all the fun that the game allows and all the adventures and everything else. But this was my first real foray into the building system. We have a community center down here. We're on a server that combines IronMine and the geeks called the IronGeeks, and this is IronGeeks Valheim, and yeah, there's a bunch of us playing on here. But anyway, yeah, this is my first foray into playing with the building system, and what I've seen a lot of people build initially is things that kind of resemble just barns or like regular square starter houses, or what the building system really suggests is a Viking long haul. And we will be making things in that kind of style, but I wanted to push it just a little bit more from my beginning thing and try something round and see if the building system could really accommodate that. And I think it could. You know, it's imperfect. Some parts of it are kind of rustic, but that's cool. I actually think it gives it charm. And what I've done it with is these wooden beams here that you can design all kinds of structures with, and you can see I've got a circle of them going all the way around, and then there's also a beam going across the middle. This circle here, the actual support of it is in-game is 10 meters wide, or 5 regular size building pieces, and you could change that or shift it how you wanted. And you can also see that I've raised the ground in the middle, and inside I'll show you why I did that. But that is also something that's really cool in this game. I think I've got it on 8. Yeah, here I've got my hoe, and the hoe has a bunch of effects. I think it's time I go ahead and turn the HUD back on so we can see what's going on. But here you can level ground, you can raise ground, and you can pathen, which I think is a brand new verb. That's just basically removing the vegetation and making a path. So that is all very cool indeed. Yeah, and I have not played many building survival games that actually allows terraforming, and that really opens up all kinds of possibilities, and for me really increases the immersion. It makes me feel like I'm really here versus on just sort of a prefabricated map. And these actually are all procedurally generated, and they're huge and very convincing. But yeah, the ability to terraform and to build in really creative ways has really sold me. And because you guys know I like my building. So let's take a quick look in here, and then I'll show you just the technique I use for making this, which is pretty simple. Yeah, so inside you can see we've got a central fire pit, and that is something that is required in the buildings in here. Not necessarily central, but having a fire is important for comfort levels and to stay warm and to allow your bed to work and so on. So you got to have a fire in your house. Now, there's a couple rules around the fire. One, it's got to be placed on ground, and that's why I raised the ground below up to this level so we can have the fire pit at the same level as the rest of the floor. And I put it in the center just because the symmetry demanded that, and also the effects of the fire, the buffs it provides and everything, are distributed equally around the house. And one of the second rules of fires is that you have to get the smoke out, because you will die of smoke inhalation. It will collect in here. You can see there's a little bit of leakage, but for the most part it's fine. So I've just designed this little central chimney for the fire pit here, and I've got 3 little spits on it where I can cook a whole bunch of meat at once and be real productive that way. Let's see if I can keep an eye on it. You can burn food real quick. And let me see what else is in here. I've got storage, so there's the initial workbench, and then the next level one, which is the forge, some of the augments that then upgrade the workbench, and we'll get those for the forge as well. And I got a whole bunch of storage because there's a lot of collecting you have to do for all the crafting in here. Let me get my meat before it goes bad. And I have also, oops, I just put some more on. Added wood to the fire accidentally. Well, I guess I'll just keep cooking meat while we'll go. I'm multitasking here, folks. I've also put a second round of chests above the windows, because this is all windows, and you guys know I like my windows. And that was really easy to do. I just took this little small floor piece here. This is the 1x1, where these are the 2x2s, and 1 meter by 1 meter, 2 meter by 2 meters. I think you're done. And you're done. I don't want to burn our food on camera, although there are reasons that I would actually want to burn it and make coal. But there we go. I'll stop cooking for now. Yeah, and so if you place that down there under the top of the window, it provides a little perch where you can put the chests here. So I got a lot of storage, a lot of crafting, and we'll be adding more stuff here as we go along. And then outside, I've got this really nice little porch from which I can survey my next building site and kind of check out the progress as we go along. I'm going to be doing a lot of terraforming on that. I've got some pretty grand plans. A spoiler is I think I'm going to design it based on a Nordic stave church. So you can look that up, but you'll see how it goes. It won't be a church necessarily, although maybe like a sort of temple to the amazing beauty of this game. But let's go take a look real quick at how you do this. Oh, and as we go out, you can see I've put a little cap, a little roof over the top of the chimney, because this game is detailed enough that if it rains on your fire, it will put it out. So that protects that and kind of covers that hole, keeps rain from coming in. Placing the stuff in a circle in here was a little tricky. You can see on the floorboards inside, it's mostly works okay. There's a little overlap, a little sloppiness in here, but you know, I can live with it. The top, the roof is a little rough, but it's still, you know, it's slapdash. This is my starter hut. And because the roofing material is thatch, you can kind of pretend that it was kind of thrown on there. It's freshly thatched. Some of it still needs to settle a little bit, but it works for me for sure. So yeah, I'll show you how I did this, and then we'll talk a little bit more about some of the things I like about the building mechanics in here. So in order to build, first thing you need is a hammer. Got that up there on my 6th slot. And then the next thing you need is a workbench down. You can't build anything except the workbench until you have a workbench down. And the ground's a little uneven, so it's going to be a little stubborn there. But you can see as I'm placing it, it's hard to see because of all the grass, but there is a perimeter there, and that is the effective area of the workbench. Anyway, let's go ahead and throw that down, and then let's grab a building piece now that we can build. First thing is we're going to use one of these 2-meter wood poles, and we're going to place it right there, say, and then switch over to a horizontal one, and we can just stick it on there. And if I mouse over the end of this, it'll connect. I could keep going out straight, or if I scroll my mouse wheel, you can see, look, I get these little incremental angles, and if you keep doing those, you get a circle. So you can see it won't place on my head, apparently. Now you can see the colors have been changing, and we'll talk about that in a second, but if I place one more piece there, it's not going to stay, because another one of the constraints is that you have to have foundational support. And for these, that's as far out as I can come. And you can see this piece is blue right here, which means it is in contact with the ground. This one is green, which means it's directly contacted with the blue piece. Then we go lighter green, then we go orange, and then we go red. And once you get dark enough red, if you place any other piece, you'll see what happens. Now, the building system is really forgiving in that you can break any piece and get all the pieces back. So you can mess up as much as you want and get your building materials back. And that in itself is also fantastic. Now, if I get underneath this piece, I can clip another vertical piece on it. And now you see that one's blue. And if I go ahead and put another one of these guys on now, getting my little circle going around, it's green because it's directly contacted to a blue one. And so we just kind of repeat that, right? And we can come around. And now they're all going to be supported as far around as I want to go. So if I keep going around like this, I'll create the same size circle that I did over there. And you could put more straight ones and then turn and create a bigger circle. And I'm sure there's a lot of other ways to do it. And a lot of folks have already figured out this same little mechanic of making circular things here. And then, yeah, I just built inward from this circle for the floor inside the place and built outward from it for the porch on the outside. And building outward I found was a little harder than building inward. I got these little gaps here, but another thing about the building system allowed me to really work with that. I can see some of the roughness of what I did here, but if we go back into the hammer and grab the little shorter piece, I should also point out while I'm down here that some of these didn't reach the ground, and so I was just able to place these little shorter pieces down here in order to create that ground contact. But up here, let's go on up. You can see that these are just these little half walls, but that's one and that's one. So there was these gaps. And so to fill it in, I just was able to free place these little short, little wooden pieces here. And you can see as I go around, it wants to snap at the corners, but if I hold left shift, I have complete freedom of placement with the rotation, and I can put these anywhere I want. And so you can imagine the creative possibilities you can have with the free placement, but no matter where I place it, it still counts as connected to whatever pieces it's touching. And so, yeah, that is amazing. Like, you know, I did most of my building in Arc. In Arc, you cannot do that. You can only place on the designated snap points. So the building system is kind of like little kits where you can work with the snap points, but that's all you get. And in that, the snap points really fight you too. They fight you a little bit here. They're a little finicky, but it's not nearly as bad. So yeah, I free placed these to fill those in there, and I could have taken more time and made it more perfect if I really cared. And you can see that these I also was able to fill in with those little 1x1 pieces, and I was able to make this work. Whereas in other more constrictive building systems, I would have had these little pie-shaped gaps in there, but I didn't in this. So that is really cool. So night is falling and the sun is setting. So let's go take shelter in our little house. And now it has started to rain, and there's all kinds of wonderful thunder and lightning weather effects. But I am nice and safe and dry under my thatch roof, cozy and safe from the elements. I probably said cozy about 10 times in this vid, but I am. You see, if I come out here, I start to drip. I'm all wet, and that definitely affects your stamina and stuff, but I can come by the fire, and I will dry pretty quickly. And just so you know where I am, you can see on the map here, I have not opened much stuff up yet, and this is how huge this procedurally generated map is. But the little area I've claimed is this sort of island right here, just connected with this little isthmus. That's a very difficult word to say. to the rest of the land. I've got a lot more to open up, but I thought this was a nice, discreet little area for me to make my domain. There's where I died when we had there's little horde events that happen every so often where it says the forest is moving and they will come in and attack you. A whole bunch of, around here is the gray dwarfs, because I'm in this little meadow that is surrounded by the black forest. You can see the biome up here as I mouse around, and the meadows are generally safer. The black forests are another level of danger, but they also have a lot of resources. There's higher tiers of wood materials in here that we're going to need for our build in order to make it taller and better and more decorated. And there's also a lot of metal in here. There's copper and there is tin in order to make copper and bronze, and we're going to need those things too. So really well situated, and it's really beautiful. And there is also a good level of challenge around me as well. But yeah, you can see in my HUD in the upper right, I have a comfort level of 5 in here so far. I've got shelter, I got fire, I'm rested. The sneaky is from my troll hide armor. But just stepping in here, I get a little notification that I'm rested. So that's pretty cool. And yeah, it's partly because of the things we put in here. I've got these deer hide rugs on the floor. Got 3 of those, always in range. I got a nice bed here. We got the fire and everything. So yeah, and as we add more furnishings and more decorations, it will get even more comfortable, and my rested buff, which really helps, will last even longer. So anyway, that's enough to let you guys know what I'm doing here. I'm gonna take a little rest by the fire and hang out here through the night. Yeah, so there's going to be lots more building where we will uncover more cool building mechanics, more pieces and materials, and that's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to make a lot of cool stuff, and there's also going to be lots more adventure and exploration in here too. So thank you for watching to the end of this little video, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.